actually. And so these people look for dignity and respect. That's what they find in Christianity. That's why you might have heard in Orissa, a state in India, there was a lot of persecution last year. And the thing is, these employers lose their cheap labor because these people get saved and God blesses them. And they understand their worth in Christ. And all of a sudden, they don't care anymore what caste they are. They strive for more. And then God blesses them with jobs, and they're not as easily pushed around anymore because God's on their side. And something's happening in their families. So a lot of the persecution is really also because of the economic situation. They're just revolting. They don't want to lose their cheap labor. And so in that case, actually, there was a governor that was running for office, but they were all Hindus. So one of our missionaries went to them and said, I want you to know that we are praying. We're praying for you to be elected. And when you are, remember us. And he was elected. And the missionary showed up again. And he asked, did you remember us? And he says, yes. The churches now are being restored. There are some tax dollars that goes towards restoration of those churches. And he is including our 30,000 churches. Of course, we don't have that many in Orissa, but our churches in there. And now the Hindus have to pay with their tax dollars what they've destroyed. So maybe they think about it next time. But it's amazing what God is doing over there. And this is what we can do in the positions that you are in. Of course, your primary objective, of course, here is soul winning and building. You have your mission field right around here. Get everybody involved. But you go to your own churches, and you can even spread the word, about gospel foundation. Give your pastor a book. Give your people, that. And we have extra books. Stephanie has all the ones, whatever you need. We also have internships. Of course, not for pharmacy or engineering or some of those business primarily. Every business department there is, but we have headquarters in Dallas. But should you choose to give a year to the Lord after you're done with school, which I understand is hard, you see the nice job and whatnot, but that is also an opportunity. You can truly say, I'm going to give a year. You can go to the headquarters in Dallas and kind of work for a year, and you'll go to India like for a few weeks out of that year to see it. But just so when you remember, when you have that job, if you have such an opportunity, instead of totally overspending and totally buying everything there is and totally maxing out, it doesn't take much in some of these countries. And you can structure, you're at the beginning of your life, of your adult life, where you can you can make all the decisions. People my age, they've got kids to feed and houses to pay for. And we have very little decision-making room left in our lives. And I'm sure some people my age wish they would have been more careful when they bought that big house or this and that. So they would have more leg room. But you are at that point where you can still make all the decisions in your life. I know it's overwhelming and difficult, but it's nice that you can still do that. And so keep that in mind when you have that job. And there's still so many ways, I believe, that you can serve the Lord better in your careers than if you would give your life and go to India, because you don't even speak the language. I'm from Germany, as you can tell. I have an accent, but I'm not from India. I grew up, I was seeking the Lord. Germany is a big mission field. Nobody's safe there. I was seeking the Lord. I asked everybody, I truly asked, is there heaven? Is it truly eternal? Is it true? There's not a soul that could tell me. my neighbor, they're teaching Sunday school. I thought, I'm going to really ask her. So I asked about eternity. She said, oh, it's just like eternity. It's like a tire. I remember that answer distinctly. It's like a tire, it just goes round and round, but it's not like eternal, It's kind of, you have to look at in the tire, at it through the tire perspective. Well, that perspective didn't make a lot of sense. But anyhow, I did run into an American missionary. And you know what? I was 16, and I wasn't saved. But I just thought, there's no German smart enough to tell me we need an American missionary here? I was so offended, I couldn't even listen to him. It just really did, it turned my stomach upside down. I don't know why. And I'm usually a fairly humble person, but I guess I wasn't in that case. And I just let it go, and later on there was a German evangelist. And I heard the gospel for the first time. Even an invitation, and I never even heard of such a thing of an invitation. Have to go forward. But after attending this tent campaign 7 days, the 7th day I went forward. And that's probably why when I hear about national missionary movements, along with the economic and the business side of it, and then the fact GFA, everything's built on prayer. Everything is built on prayer. It's very, very spiritual. So I think that's a really wonderful business model. And then if you go through the history, like in Korea and Japan, the missionary work started about 100 years ago at the same time. Well, you look at Japan now, you look at Korea. In Korea, there are, as many Christians as there are here? Unbelievable. South Korea? Well, Japan is pretty much like Germany. Well, in Japan, they used the Western missionary model, and they held closely to it. In Korea, they enabled the nationals, and the nationals took and ran with it. Same in China. And so it is an awesome, awesome missionary model. And as professionals, you have much more of an opportunity to reach out than other people, and you no longer need to feel guilty for not going yourself. Because guess what you can do? You can get 3 missionaries instead of yourself. So I'd like to me, it's a very freeing message that we don't no longer need to feel guilty, and we can utilize our own resources right here because we speak English. We have people all around here that need to be reached. So we can truly do it all. And you have already started with taking on your missionary. So that's just awesome what you're doing there. So I have some resources if you're interested. I have a really nice Send magazine that has news stories in there. When you have 16,000 missionaries, there's always an awesome story coming through. It's just amazing what God is doing over there. So I have that. I have something about the school. We call it School of Discipleship, but it's really giving your life to the Lord for the first year. It's also an intense kind of, not a Bible college, but like a discipleship type thing, We also have an internship where if you need, but like again, business primarily, or video, or communications, these kind of things, if you need 3 weeks or so, if you know anybody that's interested, that needs an internship, it's awesome. All you need to do is fly out to Dallas. Our staff will pick you up. You'll stay with the staff and live with them, drive to work with them, There's no compensation, but they feed you and host you and take good care of you. And then, it's always internships, as you know, is always the way to get a good job later on. That's how I got my job anyhow, years ago. But so we have some. I'm not sure if I have an internship brochure, but we can get that to you. And then we have another book called Road to Reality, which is the second book after the Revolutions book. And of course, you have all the Revolutions book where we could get that for you too, for a Bible study or something like that.